Thank you, Senator Duckworth. I'll tell you, I met with the U.S. ambassador yesterday who raised this exact issue about making reasonable investments to ensure that there is accessibility in our facilities. Senator Shaheen.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ambassador Verma. And thank you for your willingness to continue to serve this country. And I would actually like to begin with an issue that we discussed when we met last week. I know it's not directly within your portfolio, but as the former ambassador to India, can you talk about why this Senate needs to act to confirm an ambassador to the country of India, the largest democracy in the world?
Well, just say, Senator, I continue to believe this is the defining partnership for this century. The relationship is so consequential in so many ways. And having a senior official on the ground that represents the president makes a big difference. And so I think everyone hopefully appreciates the urgency with the need to put someone there as soon as possible. It's also, I would say, a morale issue for the team, but more importantly, just delivering on the president's priorities.
Thank you. Well, hopefully we'll see some action soon. Another area where, sadly, the Senate has been lacking in its responsibility is in confirming an ambassador to head the Office of Global Women's Issues. That office has been without an ambassador for 5 of the last 6 years. Without that ambassador, the office is inhibited in its ability to ensure that a gender lens policy is done throughout our Department of State and in terms of our foreign policy. And I wonder if you could comment first on why having that gender lens on our foreign policy is important, and secondly, how you would see working with Secretary Blinken and a future ambassador of global women's issues to engage in having that gender lens on all aspects of our foreign policy.
Yeah, Senator, it's so important, and from the president early on, through his leadership and the secretary has made gender equality and fighting gender discrimination around the world a foreign policy priority. And when women and girls can't reach their full potential, those countries are not as successful, they're not as impactful, they're generally not as democratic. And so it is a key component of our foreign policy. The position that you mentioned, the Global Coordinator for Women's Issues, is so essential to make sure that we continue to have it at the forefront. I know it's a super high priority for the Secretary. It will be for me. It was when I was in India and we were carrying out the agenda there. And so this has been a high commitment for me, and it will continue to be.
Well, thank you very much, and hopefully we can see some movement on that appointment as well. We've had a law around women, peace, and security since 2017, recognizing that having women at the table as we're looking at conflict areas and looking at how we address peace and stability throughout the world, it's very important to have women as part of that. I understand that a number of your questions have been around diversity and equity and inclusion at the State Department. How do you see the Women, Peace, and Security Initiative being integrated into those efforts to address diversity and equity?
It's absolutely essential, and it goes along with the national strategy on gender equality. It goes along with our own department strategy on women and girls, as I said. But again, having women at the table on the key issues of the day in senior leadership positions, I think the Secretary has demonstrated that with his appointments, frankly, within the department, and that'll continue. But we also have work to do to make sure in the senior and mid-level components of the department that there is greater parity, gender parity. And again, still a journey. We are not where we need to be, and we have to do a better job. I just want to thank you for everything you've done to call out this issue And all I can say is I look forward to working with you as we give the department even more of a focus on this.
Well, thank you very much. I'm almost out of time, but I just want to raise another issue that we discussed when we met, and that is around the Afghan SIV process. Since the U.S. left Afghanistan in August of 2021, there have been 200 to 300 reports of credible Taliban murdering Afghans who worked with the United States government and our allies in Afghanistan. This comes when, according to states reporting, only 2,646 SIV applications were issued in fiscal year 2022, and that compares to 3,626 visas in 2016 and 4,120 in 2017. We are not doing what we need to do in this area. We talked about that when we met. I know you understand that, but we've got to do better. It's just not acceptable that we are doing worse now in terms of those SIV applications, given all of the attention that's happened on Afghanistan in the last few years. So I would just say to you, I hope you will take that as a directive from Congress to address that.
I absolutely will, Senator. I know how important this is, and I know how many people are now charged with making sure we are living up to that commitment to our Afghan partners and friends, and there's a lot of resources being put at this. There's a new unit in Doha, as you know. There are thousands of people in the process. I know it's difficult. There's also a security element to this that we can't underlook as well, but I take your directive quite seriously.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.